This is Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture from two very different perspectives, with your hosts, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja, coming with all the relevant info about the week in pop culture. So, Mr. Benja, what are we covering today?
As always, we've got 5 hot ones to bring to you, 5 different stories that'll make you say, "Ooh la." And this week, we have upcoming first, Taylor Swift. Don't usually talk about Taylor Swift. We throw her in on the side and little angles and references. But Taylor Swift has been making enough moves where she's gonna get her own story. We're gonna feature her, let you know why you need to know, watch this woman take off. And yeah, man, Taylor Swift is doing big girl moves. No more little girl moves, big girl moves. Want to talk about that. Also, HBO has an online army and they're fake. They're all up in your comments, all up in your streams, all up in your reactions, and they're fake. What is HBO doing? Is this the only company that's doing it? Some interesting stuff going on there. Also, you probably heard now, Variety released this article, and some people call it a hit piece. Some people call it a death knell, all kinds of stuff. Some people say it's finally ripping the covers off what's going on at Marvel. I don't know if I'll say all that, but it's getting a lot of play. So basically, there's a crisis at Marvel, and this article is having everybody talking. So guess what? We're going to talk about it too. Is there a crisis at Marvel? Is the new stuff working out? Is this phase going to be everything that we thought it was? What's Feige up to? Is his hat on too tight? We'll see. Also, we got our AI watch. Always got to keep up with AI because it's the thing right now. ScarJo, she basically got her likeness taken. AI's out there doing things that she doesn't like. Nothing salacious that we know of, but it's worth covering. And we've also got the White House panel on AI. They've got 10 new standards that they want to push out and make sure that everybody's conforming to with AI. Is this going to stunt AI's growth? Maybe that's a good thing, even if it does. Maybe it's not. We'll see. And AI copyright is also in contention right now. So a lot of people are getting really concerned about what does this mean? We've got all these AI tools. What does that mean for copyright? And then finally, we're gonna have our AI. We're gonna have a rant, not an AI rant, but a rant on Meta because they've got your kids. It's like big tobacco all over again, and people are concerned that Meta, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, even if you want to bring that in, it's too controlling of your kids, and there's some scientific data to back it up. So Meta might have a problem on its hands. So we'll see. And those are our 5 stories, Theo. What do you think about those?
Man, I'm super hyped. There's so many different things we can cover. Seems like some weeks there's just a lot of news to cover. So I know it was weird. I had threads. We're going back in our little chat. We're going back to 4. You sent me some stuff, and then I think I sent you like 5 stories in a row. So, guys, this is one of those weeks. There's a lot of interesting things to cover. So before we get into that, Mr. Benja, man, have you ever just discovered something new and just changed your life when it comes to a physical opportunity, physical health related thing?
Yeah, I have. I don't want to, jump in front of your train, but well, I have. What are we talking about here?
So I experienced a cold plunge for the first
Oh,
time,
wha-
and I saw God, man. It was amazing.
amazing.
I've been you hear about this. I think you've heard about this. They've been to take cold showers to wake you up in the morning. Pictures of people jump into the Arctic cold waters and swim, and then it became a thing. A lot of influencers are talking about it. It helps with blood flow, cut down inflammation, keeps you
Yeah.
awake, all this other great things.
Yeah,
So
Japanese men have been doing this for a while. Is that what you're referring to, like stuff like that?
yeah, yep, all that. And obviously, I'm very familiar with saunas and doing that. So I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna try this, man." So the local 24-hour fitness I go to
Yeah.
happened to have one. The guy I was talking to the owner, he said, "Yeah, I'm the only one around here." I said, "Just try it out." So I said, "Maybe this is someone telling me to go, go give it a try." So I signed up other day. So he said the first time you could probably if you can just do a minute, then that's good. And so I put my finger in it. He said, "Go put your finger in and see what it feels like." I was like, "Oh, it's not that bad. I could do this. I could do this." So you go ahead and put your swimsuit on and everything. So you get in and bruh, it's cold. I'm
Hold
over
on.
here.
The cold plunge is cold. I
Yeah,
got it.
insightful, right? So that's the first part, just that shock. But you just breathe through it. Do the hyperventilate breathe that you do normally when it's cold. You do a deep breath. And
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
did that, slid into it. And so you get used to it, but it's still cold. So you don't want to stay there 20, 30 minutes. That would not be good.
You talking
But
about
yeah, I got up to right here. Yeah, pretty close to my neck. I
okay.
didn't put my shoulders all the way in. So I said, okay, a minute. He said, how you going? I said, oh yeah, this is about a minute. Let's go. Let me get out of here. So I got out that first time. And first thing you feel is relief because you're out of the cold and your body's done with it. And so
Yeah.
you're thinking, okay, this is okay. It's nothing. But man, you feel it for like several hours after that. Your body still feels cold. You still feel energized. You don't feel any pain. You have knee injuries. Like I have a little lower back issues. Didn't feel that. It was just like, wow. I was like the picture of the guy walking and kicks his heels in the air to the side. I was like, yeah. So I did that. Then the second time I did by myself, I stood in there for 2 minutes. Felt even better. So I was
Eh,
trying to do it today, but I didn't get a chance to get over there in time. They only had certain periods of time.
mhm.
So I'll try to do it tomorrow, but I'm gonna try to at least do it like every other day and kind of after I work out to see how that can help with a lot of inflammation and stuff I'm dealing with right now. So yeah, so that's one of the things I'm super excited about. Yeah, that is my story from the week, Mr. Bidger. So
Oh,
go
that is
try it out if you haven't tried a cold plunge before.
that is cool. I haven't done a cold plunge per se. I've done the sensory deprivation chamber
Ooh.
and my version of a cold plunge, and this got me taking cold showers, by the way. I don't know if you heard my on, Instagram, I posted my Wakanda Forever story. But basically, our gym, the hot water went out, and I was like, "Okay, it'll just be lukewarm water." I don't know where they were getting this water from, dog, but when I say ice cold, I was like, "Yo, that's really cold." So the first time I was like, "Man, screw this. That is, like, cold." Yeah, I just drove home funky. I didn't wanna do that, but that's what happened. And then I'm in, like, the grocery store and everything because I go to the grocery store after. I was like, "Man, this isn't the business. I just need to get in the shower. Let me stop being a punk," because I saw this other kid go in the shower. I was like, "Let me do it." Man, that ice cold water just hitting you and you can't escape it. And the gym that I had small showers, so the water's bouncing all off the side and it's not like submersion.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was I kept doing cold showers after that because even though I was angry, man, this gym sucks, man. Why don't they fix the water? Da, 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 da. While I was in there, I could do nothing but meditate and focus on keeping my mind together because it was so dang cold. And that was an interesting thing I didn't expect. Where now I go in, I smack the handle for the water, I cross my fist over my chest, and just look up in the sky. And it's like a good 2 seconds before the water comes, but it feels like about a minute. I'm like, here it comes. Caught it forever. Boosh. And then that cold water hits you. I just no matter what's on my mind, dog, I could always clear my mind during that little time where the water hit me. I loved it.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I think that's the other thing. It's just that 1 minute, 2 minutes, or whatever that you're doing these cold plunges. Your body, your mind, no matter how bad your crappy your day is going or how good it is, your mind's just there, present. And so, to your point, that is something refreshing. Typically, I stay in the past or the future, and so just being present and aware, that is awesome because your body's this ain't normal, son. Get out of this water. What are you
Yes.
doing, fool? Uh,
You're not thinking about anything else. I just want you to think happy thoughts, all right?
I want you to get out of this water. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. Who cares about are you trying to close a contract or what happened 20 years ago? What's your best friend? You get out of this water. Anyway, oh man, thanks for sharing your story, Mr. Benja. The other thing I wanted to highlight too, as we get off the health tip, is yeah, I just finished Gen V. Yeah, so very interesting. Amazon. I know you have Amazon, Mr. Benja. I know you can't cancel that.
Never.
You just don't watch it. Interesting. Like I said, I wasn't. I talked about at the beginning, how liked it at first, then became not no longer a fan. Just interesting what they're doing. They're doing opposite of, and then also Invincible just came out. And so Amazon is doing the opposite of what Marvel is doing. And with this hardcore hero versions that they're doing, very bloody and gory. So it's an interesting lane that they're taking with, with comic book movies and style storytelling. So it'd be interesting to see it. It looks like this is getting more traction than maybe the Marvel stuff, which we'll talk about later. But so anyway, Gen V is as bloody as you can imagine, and then some. So, but without spoiling too much, it's basically the Boys 3.5, right? To get into the next season of the Boys, season 4. So it's going to be interesting to see the storylines that come out of Gen V that connect to the Boys. So yeah, so do I recommend people watching it? Sure, but just know what you get into. It's a weird kind of mix because it's got that teenage angst thing where they're going, I don't want to be like my dad. Oh, I love you, but I can't be with you. That kind of thing. That storytelling that you, Sabrina, all that stuff that you watch EW shows, but then is mixed with super heroic genre storytelling
Yeah.
and gore. And just, I don't know if that pot mixes well. So it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to be with you, but I need to blow up this person's head first. So anyway, yeah, so that's my take on it. We'll see where it goes. People are loving it, so looks like they're here for a while. They got season 2 announced. We'll see what happens.
My little caveat I got thrown in there with that, Sabrina and Riverdale don't fit the rest of the CW. They're wholly different and fall more into the supernatural category. So I just want to make that little
Yeah,
distinction.
and I think I told you years ago, the guy who created The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, he's a writer for those shows, but he used to write comic books, and man, I can't remember his name right now, but he wrote this great Fantastic Four comic book, man, and I was like, "Who is this guy, man?" And he just went off and did his first he did the comic book version of Sabrina, and like you said, that went, real supernatural. I dropped off. I couldn't be watching stuff about the devil. Once it
You
got really hardcore
Yeah,
into
it's
that, I was like,
kinda heavy.
he's she yeah, when she was like literally like the devil's bride or something, I was like, "Okay, I'm good."
Yeah, yeah,
That thought was like, "Hey, this is Carissa explains it all. This the
yeah.
teenage witch."
It's like, no, no.
Yeah. Wrinkle the nose, but nah, son, it was hardcore.
It's like that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It's not up for you. "Hey, this ain't Winnie the Pooh." Oh, man,
What am I
Jim.
watching?
Jim was
Oh,
baby.
man. So, anyway, that's my thoughts of the week so far.
Alright. So, let you know, my action in terms of the week haven't changed too much because I'm focusing on that 20%. Like we talked about before, Dr. Benjamin Hardy's book, 10x is greater than 2x, plug. That is what I'm on right now, and it's led me down some interesting paths. I realized I had to get my sleep together, so I had to focus 100%. I had to put all my focus into that. I was like, "Huh, if I don't have my sleep together, it affects this, it affects that, it affects that." So randomly, like, doing my sleep became the thing. I was like, "Nope, I can't do this. I'm gonna take a nap. Nope, can't do that. Gotta get up. Can't do this. I can't have an alarm. It's gonna mess me up when I wake up too early." Like, if I don't I try not to rock with the alarm because it takes me out of my sleep at the wrong time, and it just so, yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff to it, but basically, I found that was my 20% focus that I needed to do. I needed to just get to sleep properly and have enough of it, and it changed everything. So my next 20% has become Threads. So I went from since the last time we talked, I've gone from 200 followers to 650. So
Congratulations.
I'm over there making Threads a thing. I'm pulling old 2010 strategies from Gary Vee. I'm pulling 2009 strategies from what was that website? I forgot that website's name, but we were doing Twitter stuff back then. Bringing back Follow Friday, and people are like, "What is this Follow Friday? I don't believe you're bringing this back." I'm bringing it back, son. So yeah, it's fun. I'm trying to get that interaction before Meta, which we'll talk about later, before they turn on the switch. Because once they turn the switch on, the algorithm's gonna be all effed up.
No, kudos, man. Congratulations. How long are you on this? You said 20%. You said last week you did this week you did that. Are you doing it by weekly uh
No,
timelines for the 20%, or
um,
are you just trying to hit some target?
where I'm looking at my focus going and the results I'm getting. So right now, I want to focus my attention getting where I was getting the most attention, the most consistent and the most engaging attention. So I was looking at, I have a good number on Instagram. I have a good number on Facebook. I have really good traction on email, although it's not as big. And here comes this threads thing. I'm like, hey, let me throw that in the mix. And instead of using my own links like I normally do, I started using some bit.ly links just to track it a little better, a little
Mhm.
easier. And I'm like, huh, all my click-throughs are coming through, threads a lot higher. Interesting.
Mm.
So I just started pumping on threads and really getting in there, engaging and doing that consistent kind of hitting people up. Hey, how you doing? I really like this post. Da da da. Search for video games. Anybody talking about video games? Jump up all in the comments. Hey, what's up? I like that game. Press A to start, boy. Ha, LOL. And yeah, it just became enough of an engagement factor where I came up with a plan to do the opposite of Gary Vee's pillar content. So instead of doing like these big, huge pieces of content, like a speech, 2-hour podcast or whatever, and then break that up into chunks, I'm throwing little chunks out there. And as those chunks get engagement, I make them bigger, post them out there again. So something comes out as one little tweet, gets a bunch of a thread, gets a bunch of replies. Now that it's gotten a bunch of replies, I'm like, okay, I'll make a multi-part thread about it, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts about it, post that out there. It gets a whole bunch of feedback. Then I take that whole thing, turn it into a blog post, post it again as a blog post, say, hey, I wrote a blog post about this whole thing I was talking about last week. That blog post can go to my email. Then that I take that blog post and the next time a recording session comes up, I record a quick little reel for Instagram, TikTok on there, push that out. It's starting from these little bits and slowly building up into these bigger things. And if something keeps getting enough talk, enough feedback, enough momentum, that snowball keeps rolling, then I'll turn it into a full on course. I'll make a shirt out of it. I'll keep on building it that way. I just thought it was very interesting to start from Threads, this microblogging platform, and have that be the top of this waterfall process I'm developing.
Mm. Just FYI though, I think
Is
Alex Hormozy, yeah, he talked about that, right? He would use the Twitter content and then using that for his shorts. Now I don't know if he built off the shorts to your, but which is I
Hand on my
think what
level.
you're trying to get to. Yeah, you're trying to build off of the shorts, which is gonna be yeah. I would love to see how you do that. I'm finding out. I've been doing these lives now, these Thursday night lives for the last what almost 2 months now with folks, and I'm realizing I ask similar questions, but I'm starting to build frameworks
Mhm.
into my conversations and trying to see how that resonates and as I talk to folks. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to harp on, just building out my you don't know, frameworks are just ways you're thinking of how you can explain a topic and giving it to your audience. And so to make it clear. And so I'm using the interviews to bring out my frameworks to understand that better. And then I use that as content. So I'm starting to use that too. But so and then also I talked to my team about are we gonna am I think I'm thinking about doing an in-person podcast. I know enough entrepreneurs here in Tampa area, just giving a room and just doing the Ryan Pineda thing and then cutting that up. So yeah, I'm evaluating the content. It's a content game, man. It's a lot. It's if you do enough reading, talking to folks and stuff like that, you can start generate unlimited content. It's just
Who are
um,
your top 3 runners in the game? People
what do you
you
mean?
follow, listen to, think about in terms of content.
Oh yeah,
I got
definitely.
my 3.
Yeah, Hormozy, he's definitely top notch and just how he's grown with it. Um, let's see. That's the only one really. Well, Myron G. I hear Myron Golden every so often. I just like how he tells his stories, and but he was a preacher, so he knows how to weave those stories in. So that's the top 2. Is there a 3rd person I
You
can
just said
listen to?
Pineda. Is he not,
I don't really li he's not. I talked to my my marketing person about this. He
okay.
doesn't really, he's got some interesting thoughts, but he's not really a deep thinker. So he'll tell you his little framework, but that's pretty much it. His content is really built around his story and then also his interviews, right? And so it's interesting to listen to other people he's interviewing sometimes. Those long form kind of interviews, I'm okay with them. I just sometimes I just don't, I just don't want to get into a deep dive with just the interview kind of conversations every once in a while. That's just me. But who's the third person? I guess it would have to be Mr. Benja. Yeah, I think that's it. What
Join
about you?
Follow me on Threads, baby. Hormozy's the newest one because he just came out of the blue and was like bang hitting. So he's definitely a breath of fresh air. Clearly knows how to game the system. But I go back to my 2 classics, Grant Cardone and Gary Vee. Those
Gee.
I'm still learning from him. I go back and watch him and I'm like, "Oh, no, he was right on that one." And, no, he's actually doing the thing, not just talking about it. And he can break down, so you don't want to do it in this case. You want to do it in this case. And it's, oh yeah, he actually knows because he does that all the time. He's not just parroting. He's in there. So those are my 3.
Okay. Yeah, Gary Vee, like I said, he says the same stuff over and over again, but you're right. He does that meme to a video thing, and I told my team, let's do that. Let's see how that works for us. And then Uncle G, I haven't heard from him in a minute, but I'll go check him out. I just get too many emails from Pete all the time, so I'm like, I guess Uncle G is done. Pete Vargas is the man
Yeah,
now. So anyway, so yeah, but thanks for that. Look, yeah, Uncle G is, he's the original man, and he's just out there still pumping content, man. He's still doing the thing. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. All right, you ready to get into these stories?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right. Story number 1. Taylor Swift is making big girl moves. And that's not to diminish anything that this lady is doing. She's a fabulous business person in her own right. She's done massive numbers. I don't listen to much of her stuff, but lately, everywhere you go, hear about her. You learn about some new thing that she's done. She's taking over theaters. She's messing with the numbers over in the masters and publishing world. She's at NFL games, all this kind of stuff. And Theo, speaking of NFL games, you said that you saw her recently and you were just like tired of it. How I want this from your point of view. How has Taylor Swift come in and put the elbow drop in your sphere of media intake?
I just think back to how you just introduced to the artist. And for me, the first I even heard of Taylor Swift is when Kanye interrupted her speech and talked about Beyonce. And so that's always been my anchor with her because I didn't know who she was.
Mm,
And she was already extremely popular then, but I do feel that put her on another atmosphere, right? When that happened, in my opinion.
yeah,
And true to form, when she released her next album, it went to the stratosphere, right? She had Kendrick Lamar on it. She had all kinds of stuff going on. So which I don't think that was happening before. So yeah, so to me, she has decent music. It's okay, something to say. But man, the depth it's just the depths of the just her omnipresence. We talk about this in marketing.
mm,
She has mastered that at the celebrity level, unlike any other. One thing to dominate, okay, she has fans. A lot of people have fans, the Swifties. We talked about the Navy with Rihanna and the Beehive
beehive.
with Beyonce, uh, and the Barb's, but with the Nicki Minaj. But it's like to another level with these folks. And it's so much that anytime she has a relationship and she breaks up with that person is now the enemy to her millions of fans. And it's just crazy how this works out. And so one thing, so she has a fan base she's mobilized. She went against, we talked about her earlier. So she went against her old producer to get her masters back. So her fan base hate the original versions of that, and they're actually actively not trying to even buy the original versions of her original album. So
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why when she got her masters back, she re-recorded everything, which is another cash grab, but all that goes back to her,
yeah,
thanks to the help of her fans.
yeah.
And so
So I actually want to reiterate that point to people. So usually, an artist every so often will do a re-release of their old material. Hey, here's all my old hits, or hey, here's a compilation, or hey, re-release. whatever. And we see, okay, sure, that's fine. When Taylor Swift bought her masters from publishers and the label heads, it was a long drawn out fight. It's, hey, I made this music. Let me get my masters back. And yeah, she definitely used her fans to help make that happen because everybody started thumbs downing on the labels to the point where they bowed to the pressure. Well, after she gets her masters back, she's like, all right, these are my masters now. Mine. These are mine now. Okay, we're gonna re-release all that old music, but now that I own the masters, all the money's gonna come to me. And usually that wouldn't be the case because you just have the old masters, the old copies of the thing still out there, and people would buy that. And it's like, okay, sure, whatever. But now that she's re-recorded now, not just like repackaged or whatever, re-recorded, they're technically new songs. So all the money comes back to her now. So it's really interesting how she did that. She's like, y'all get all my money. I'm just gonna
All my money.
re-release. Give me that. Give me that. And yeah, it
No,
got to
that
the point where like they're trying to make laws now where you can't do that.
oh, yeah. Yeah, purposely, and yeah, so that was one angle, but you forget about the whole Ticketmaster fiasco, right? Where she basically, sued on behalf of her fans that Ticketmaster was encouraging ticket gouging, where they would put tickets out there and people would scalp them and charge absorbent fees for her concerts, and so she was going against Ticketmaster to remove that process. So she's just picking fights after fights with she's weaponized, let's be honest, she's weaponized her fan base to go after these pillars of the music business industry, right? The
Yeah.
masters, the concert theater. And then she went after the theaters. And so obviously she had a re-release. That was huge. Got all the money back for that. And people are actively not buying her old stuff. Then she came out with a concert series called The Errors, where she's literally just basically singing her hits over and over again and having and taking over cities. She'll stay at a city for 3 days, and then everybody would come in Tampa. She was here for 3 days. In
Mhm.
LA, she was down there for 6 days. Would come in, listen to the songs, get hype and everything. Then she concert that they said this is probably gonna be a $1 billion concert, right? If not just US based, worldwide. And then she said, "Okay, I wanna make more money. So what do I need to do? Let me create a concert movie." Now, mind you, there's been concert movies before. Jason Bieber's done one. What's it called? BTS? Yeah, my kids love
Yeah.
BTS. They had one. No concert movies did. They always did anywhere, what, a
Yeah.
couple 30 millions or something like that.
And then for those who aren't familiar, you go to a theater and it's a specified date where the concert's playing at that movie theater. It might be live, might be delayed, but it's always just an event.
Well, I would say some cases not. I think some of them are just re-recorded because didn't
Yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Jackson have a concert? I think it was like recorded session and they kind of spliced it together with some editing packages and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but what she did was she didn't go to a studio. Typically, you go to a studio, you go to Paramount or Warner Brothers and say, "Hey, help me get this," and then they would distribute it through a theater, right? She said, "Bump all that, son. Just going straight to AMC. Get going to a studio." And she went to AMC and she said, "Hey, y'all want some money? How about this? You distribute this. I'll get my people coming in because the studio is really supposed to help get the people to come in. I know how to get my people to come in. You just get it out and you give me what I think it was like 50, 60%, something big of
Yeah.
all the proceeds." And so she just made another close to a bill for that deal
Yeah.
because she basically made 100. The weekend it was launched in the movie theaters. She made $100 million for a concert film. And I think the last number I heard was around over 200 million for a concert million. Mind you, this is stuff she already
Yeah.
did from a concert. So I told my marketing person today, basically, Taylor Swift is the apex predator of a content creator.
Yeah.
She's repurposing her content, and that's all you do as a content creator.
Yeah.
She rewrote her songs, created a concert, saying the same songs, and then had the distribution strategy doing the same song.
Yeah.
Nothing she did was different. It was just the different channels she went down to get it out to her fans.
And then she comes in and stays top of mind by showing up at NFL games.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Why? It's like, all right, what? That's what you just like, why are you here? Just every 2 seconds, she's showing up on camera. She's got this relationship with Travis Kelsey, who is a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, he's a pretty good football player, won Super Bowl rings and all that, but he's a famed whore, for lack of a better word, himself. And so, if you didn't know, he had his own reality show a couple years back called Jason Kelsey. So he wants fame, and so him hooking up with the most famous pop star, I think, is a win for both parties. We'll see how long this relationship lasts. It may be true love. I don't want to disparage that, but
So for
the,
people
the
not in the
cynic in me
know,
says no.
yeah,
The cynic in me says no. But go ahead.
for people not in the know, the business relationship is a thing. It's a valid, "Hey, I'm doing this thing, I'm trying to get some shine. You're doing this thing, you're trying to get some shine. Let's hang out together and share each other's shine." And it's okay, cool. Suddenly you have this cross-pollination. It's like the Marvel DC crossover every once in a while. You just get 2 of these camps coming in. It's NFL, Taylor Swift, what the hell? And yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. So anyway, man, I don't want to belabor the point. Look, I can't be mad at the game. The game is a game. I can be slightly mad at the player. And would say for hey, Swifties don't at me, but I do feel like definitely she is apex predator when it comes to how to market herself and get her name out there. And then we always know that any relationship that she's in, she's gonna write a song about it.
Yeah.
So that's the
Oh,
other
check
thing.
check this out. Taylordle. You know that there's a Taylor Swift version of Wordle, and a lot of the words are like Taylor Swift related. The first week this came out, I decided to play it, right?
Mhm.
So it was like the first day, it was like Swift. That was the word. Guess the word in the first one. It's just Swift. It's yay. That was the first Wordle. I was there when this happened. This was comedy. And I forgot like there were two others that were like the name of a song or the name of an album or something like that. And it was like, "Yay, you got the guess, you got the guess." Dude, it went viral on Twitter, and I said, "I'm gonna go play this today." And I decided to type in Kanye, and that was the word of the
Oh
day.
man.
I was like, 5 letters. She's just Kanye. "Yay, you got the word of the day for Taylor." And I'm like, "Yo, this girl is tripping. She's out there."
So kudos to her. She comes by honest. I think her mom was an ex-marketing executive. Her dad was
Oh,
a stockbroker.
of course.
So she's even though she's been on this music, came from upper middle class, got all the lessons and everything she needed to get to the next level. And so that's ingrained in her, whether through and I think her dad is her agent still. That's the other thing too. So there we go. So anyway, it doesn't fall far from the tree.
She has definitely got a strong online army. You all should be trying to build your own strong online army. And that leads us into story number 2. HBO has a fake online army, and it's out there in your comments, giving you dislikes, punching you in the mouth, correcting you, fact checking you, and making sure that you're all hyped about HBO. Uh, this stuff is comedy. It's coming from a Rolling Stones article. Yeah. Theo, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, sometimes we go in here and talk about executives at these companies, and so this is a new executive called named Casey Bloys. If you've never heard of him, he's the HBO president, but he came up through HBO and became over their programming. So he's a very influential guy, right? I think he had a hand in greenlighting the latest Game of Thrones, not the old one, but the House of the Dragon, Hot D, as we call it here. He's also instrumental in The Last of Us, Euphoria. So definitely a kingmaker, if you will, when it comes to HBO quality content. This dude has it all, right? Top streamer, top content, loved by stars, beloved by folks, admired by his peers. But he's just got one problem, man. He
What's
hate
that?
trolls. He hate them trolls on the internets,
Uh,
man. And so he gotta be in these streets with a fake account. They're talking, get this, man. This reminds me of
what's that?
do you remember Kevin Durant? There was a story that he had a fake Twitter account going after, small users talking bad about him on Twitter. I don't know if you heard that story. Kevin Durant, the basketball player for the Suns,
Right.
top 5 basketball player in NBA right now when he's not hurt. He was literally creating fake Twitter accounts going after people. So it's just amazing, man, how I guess that's why you're big time, man. You just have so much pettiness in you that you just can't let any slide. If you do, nah, man, I gotta go after him.
Yeah. It's
I, I gotta go after them. Yeah, show him. What's that? There's someone said that Twitter fingers turn to trigger fingers or something like that. I forgot who said that,
oh, that's
but
comedy.
yeah, it's just like
Um,
everybody's just using it as an excuse. It's just hilarious.
so this opens the door to and this idea, I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with it. There's it's not and they put the article put secret in quotes because everybody does it. We just decided to focus on this guy right now. Basically, when you've got your reputation out there, somebody's going to put out people to push your brand. Like Taylor Swift doesn't need to have anybody's secret. She's just got all her people. She'll go on her message boards, she'll go on her private channels, she'll go wherever she needs to go and tell her people, hey, listen, this is what's happening. And when those people see tweets and everything that go against it, they'll get in the comments and jump them. You get jumped in the comments. I don't know if you've ever been jumped in the comments, but you're like, where are these people coming from? A lot of people pay for this. You get a room of people, they'll create a bunch of accounts and say, "Hey, listen, we need to defend this movie." I don't know if Ryan Johnson did that with Last Jedi or whatever,
Mm,
but it's like, "Hey, we need to defend this movie, talk it up." And they'll keep the discussion going. It's an old political thing. It goes back to politics and I'm talking back in the any level of politics. You want to talk back to Roman civilization, they would put out people and have them in the streets saying what the real story is, blah, 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 and putting these stories in everybody's ear, and they're getting paid off. So now, advanced to the future, we've got Twitter bots, we've got online army accounts where people will make these accounts and put Bob Jones 775 Florida. That's his username. You're like, Bob Jones 775 Florida. You got to be kidding me. That's a real username. He's got like 17 posts in the last 2 days, and that's it, talking about whatever topic. So, this is true, this is real, and now HBO is getting called out for it.
yeah, I think, and that's to your point. I think the story here is that he got caught, but everybody does it, and so he just got caught for what he was doing. But it's just funny to see that people at that level have their hands on something that's such. It's almost like a mob movie, right? They don't touch the gun, and that's what the enforcers do, right? Don't give
Yeah,
me the gun, son. So why is his hands all on this? It's
yeah,
almost like you always have to, as someone who is, uh, not saying such a higher up, have run my own company, I have people under me. There's certain things I'm like, man, I need to have plausible. What's it called?
plausible deniability.
Yeah, plausible deniability. Don't
There's
tell me all that, son. I don't know.
there was
Let me get off this call.
yeah, there was a scene in The Sopranos where Tony was like, "Yeah, I don't like that guy," and then he got up and left. And then they all turned around and started looking at each other. And it's, "Do you like that guy?" They, "No, I don't like that guy either." It's like, "I really hate that guy." And they all turned to that guy. It's like, "You really hate that guy?" He "Can't stand that guy." I don't know. Maybe you should tell somebody about it. I think you're right. That guy goes to talks to another guy. And he's like, "Hey, this guy's really causing problems. I would pay a lot of money if that problem just went away." I just and nobody actually said anything, but the guy ended up getting off. And that was basically how you hide a hit. It was just like so many layers of plausible deniability. I say, "Hey, I never said hurt the guy. I said I didn't
Yeah.
like. That's all I said."
Yeah. Just like a few good men with Nicholson, he's on the stage on the stand and he says, no, I just said leave that guy alone. You know, will not haze him. But everybody knew what that meant. So it was like at the end, Tom Cruise goaded him where he just said, "You're damn right I did. I will do it again." So it's just so it's just that air. Anyway, so I think it's just funny and I'm glad we could comment on this and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, and don't come for us to show versus business. The SvB crew will be out there jumping you in the comments. Speaking of comments, a lot of comments going on in story number 3. There's a crisis going on in Marvel. New article came out from variety.com. Some people are calling it a hit piece, as we mentioned before. Some people are calling it a smear piece. Some people are calling it finally the truth is being out. Well, it's called Crisis at Marvel. Jonathan Major backup plans, the Marvels reshoots, reviving original Avengers, and more issues revealed by Tatiana Siegel. I don't keep up with these people, but her name's getting thrown around a lot. And basically, it's looking that everybody is reeling from a series of disappointments in Marvel. I've had my disappointments with Marvel. I'm currently having them with Loki, which was my favorite show. So I've got a lot of problems with what's going on, and people are flaming me in the comments. I haven't fought back too much, but I'm just saying they got issues and they need to get fixed. Do they have issues, Theo?
Absolutely. I think look, we've been talking about this for what, man, since maybe even last year a little bit. We talked about Eternals, and what was going on there. The There's a lot of different parts, and if you go read the story, we're not gonna go into the deep dive. Maybe we'll do a whole Marvel show, just go deep dive into Marvel maybe at the end of the year and see where they are, ways we can fix Marvel or MCU,
Mhm.
and thoughts on that. But so I think this coincided with a book that the podcaster at The Ringer, Joanna Robinson, she wrote a book, The MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, right? And so this book just came out. And so just like the history of Marvel, and she did a lot of interviews, and out of that book came a lot of revelations about stuff that we know about, right? It's the shoddy FX work, right? Some of the things that's going on with Jonathan Majors behind the scene, the need for the original Avengers to come back, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just all these things that are coming to the forefront now because of that book. And so this article is just an outlay of that. And it's stuff we already talked about, right? The glut of content is not compelling anymore. They're blaming on they were mandated to create more content for the streaming service. And so that made the content not as special. Sure. But it's just
Yeah.
one of those things like just make a good TV show. It don't matter. And you don't have to keep putting out stuff that just telling pieces of a story to get people to another story. Just tell a complete story, which I don't think Marvel ever mastered because they were rewarded for doing that in movies. They never told a complete story into Endgame, 22 movies.
They started
So
with 2 relatively complete stories, which are Captain America and Iron Man. And then after that, they started really.
mhm. Even with those, though, they had those little teasers right at the end.
Sure.
But yeah, to
But
your point though, the
yeah,
whole
but with
story.
with those movies, you didn't have the teaser taking over
Yeah.
the talk of the story. So when people talked about Iron Man, they weren't like, "Hey, at the end, do you remember this?" And that's no, you talked about Iron Man. So
Yeah. And Avengers 2 was terrible, right? Age of Ultron, but they absolutely the teaser was for other stuff. And so, yeah, so I think those are things that and then so is Feige, like you said, is he nervous, Mr. Benja? I think that's what's happening. Is he gonna pull some tricks? So what are your sense? Maybe we'll do a deeper dive later of all the different problems. What do you think he's trying to? Because we know the next movie they got coming out is the Marvels, right? This month, November. Track is not good. I don't think too people are excited about it. Or they're not expecting to make. I think the last one made like $1 billion. This will not get close to $1 billion. It is what it is.
so here's the thing. It's weird because you've got a movie that stars Brie Larson, who nobody has really nobody's really championing Brie and Captain Marvel as characters. She just shows up on the screen and people are like, "Oh, okay, blah." Then you've got Photon, who got beat up by Wanda in WandaVision, and you're like, "Oh, okay, that side character that got beat up." And then you've got Miss Marvel, who's like this young teeny bop, whatever, and which is she's a cool character, but not compelling enough for me to go get up and lead this movie or co-lead in this movie. So I'm just looking at this movie, and I can do this for any of the things they've got coming out. This is not picking on Marvels. I can do this with Loki or any of the new things. And
Mr. Benja, do you not like diverse storytelling? Do you not like women led stories.
Apparently, I'm sweet. I'm sleeping, man, because I don't like the woke. No, I'm
Okay,
just
Ben
kidding.
Shapiro. Okay, Ben Shapiro, slow down.
What's funny is I'm on the side of woke, but then when I see what they actually do with the content, I'm like, okay, I like woke. I don't like this shit. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and
It's
I'm
almost
just
it's pandering to the wokeness.
right. I think we're getting a lot of pandering. Listen, we're talking about numbers and everything. The show Kenobi had a $90 million budget. She-Hulk comes out and has a $250 million budget. Yeah, I get that there's a lot of CG involved, but if I'm over there running things, I'm like, there is no way this show is going to get more money or that much more than Kenobi. And it just talks to, hey, we can get a cash grab for this guy that everybody likes and not really put too much into it. We can play off easy tropes that we already know the quote unquote fans love and just throw it out there. And it did what it did. And then, hey, we really got to try hard with She Hulk and let's put these other characters into it, make new characters, a new style of writing. Just crazy. So, yeah, I got issues with that. I got so many issues I don't want to talk about anymore.
I would just say this. I'm probably one of the few folks that thought She-Hulk wasn't that bad, but I liked it. But I get the knock against it. But I was just thinking, they were one of the things was like they were forced. Disney or MCU was forced to put so much content out. But I'm like, what choice did Disney have? They were trying to go against Netflix. They needed content. They had two great IPs in Star Wars and in MCU. Why not put quality content out? I think the problem was their process was that messed up. They just brought movie
Yes. Yeah.
people into TV, and that's why the TV shows, they were trying to make these 6-hour, 10-hour long movies, and that's not how TV should be run. So it and they shown that where they scrapped all of Daredevil. I think they filmed the 3/4 of the whole show. Already filmed it and everything. Get all this, and they're going back to the drawing board to a traditional showrunner type process. So anyway, so maybe we'll do a deeper dive on this because I think there's some more discussion here.
Yeah, and I don't wanna come off as a hater. I am, but I don't wanna come off as one. I do actually enjoy watching these things. It's just that when I go back and I see mistakes, I'm like, "Why would you try to do that? What was the reasoning behind?" And when I see too many of these things happening, I get frustrated. It's, I see what you're trying to do. Not that's a bad thing. It's just not the best thing, and it's not the thing I would have suggested you do in this case. I'm not running things, but I'm a fan of these characters, and dog, I'm not the guy putting Kingpin in a Hawaiian shirt. I'm just like,
Yeah, that was yeah. Hey, man, there was there's some distractors, but I like Black American Falcon Captain.
Black Captain Falcon American. What's it?
Yeah, I l
American Black Falcon Captain. They
I
they
people
changed
hated
they
that.
changed everybody's costume to be more realistic and real world, except for his. Now he's gotta come out looking like the Star Spangled, Pigeon. Just I don't even know what to call him.
Oh, man. Anyway, so yeah, so more to come, man. Marvel. Can it right this ship? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. Is fatigue set in? Yes.
Yeah,
Can they right the ship? Possibly. They just gotta tell better stories, man. Be intentional about the stories you tell, and if it's a medium for TV, be TV. There's movies, be movies. And then, but the rumor is just putting out there they're gonna do Secret Wars, and they're probably gonna have Doctor Doom come in, and that's when they're gonna introduce X-Men. I'm just speculation,
yeah.
X-Men and Fantastic Four, and probably bring back the original folks, which they believe that's gonna help get people back on board, but we'll see.
And depending on what's happening in Loki, there could be another thing going on too.
Okay.
We shall see. And here's the thing. The fact that we're talking about the behind the scenes being the story instead of the actual story being the story, that's all I'm saying about that. Story number 4. This is our AI watch. Every week we come to you with a little bit of AI news and what's going on with the in the world of artificial intelligence, large language models, and Skynet and the robots taking over. And this week we got a couple for you. Scarlett Johansson just recently got well, she got ripped off basically. They took her likeness just like they did Tom Hanks and started doing stuff and put her in an ad. And she's, hey, that's not me, but it looks like me, talks like me, sounds like me. What the hell? That's not me. It's AI. So they got ScarJo in there too. And now she's trying to sue and bring light to this problem. Theo, does she have a chance? What's going on?
ScarJo loves to sue, boy. She was suing Disney, now she's suing AI. Yeah, man. She should sue a little sister, man. Go ahead, girl. Yeah, it's good. They need to I think Tom Hanks is doing something like that too. So images and likeness, this is gonna be key battleground for the future. So more to come, but I think they're probably gonna win this battle, because they're getting in early. But there's just so much money going to AI, and they're gonna find ways around it where even the actor's gonna be like, "Did I do that?" It's gonna be so real. I guess I did do that. Or they're gonna find arrangements where they're gonna pay them for licensing their image. I think that's gonna be the workaround.
Yeah, that's what they do for a lot of music where they come find out, hey, you didn't license this music properly. And they're like, crap, you're right.
Yeah.
All right, here's $20,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be back
I
next year
mean,
for the other 20.
yeah, no work, no nothing, and they just use the image, and then they get the approval on how the image is used. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. That's what this is gonna end up.
Yeah, and good thing we have the U.S. government on task. They have a new, I don't want to call it task force, but they had, according to Mashable, White House drops an AI regulation bombshell, 10 new mandates that'll shake up the industry. And this is targeting OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, and the other prominent AI players. And they're saying they must adhere to this new legislation. Sounds good, right?
Yeah. I would think so. I don't know, man. I'm just one of those persons that anything that government's into is shaky. I'm not saying that I'm anti-government. It's just sometimes a lot of stuff they put together is not thought through thoroughly. And so one of the things is they developers of powerful AI systems must share the results of their safety tests with the federal government. Sure. What is that? Just like, here's my homework. Here's one piece of paper on the test I did. Okay, here's an A. How the government just doesn't have the resources to really dig in deep and figure out what they're doing. And so that would be my concern. They're saying things like AI generated content must be watermarked. Sure. There's probably gonna be ways around that. It's a start. I get that point. You can't regulate. It's very hard to regulate commerce, and if you don't put incentives, economic incentives, I sound like a free marketer, right? I sound like a what's it called? I can't remember the name right now. A libertarian,
Right.
but it's true. Is people only going to be do what they leverage to do need to do, right? So if
Yeah.
you can put all these regulations and all this stuff, but you can't stop progress. The Pandora's box out. So they got to put more guardrails around incentives and maybe giving people rights to sue AI companies. And I think they would slow down a lot more if there was a heartache financial. Say, for instance, if ChatGPT stole your image, you could get all their revenue from your image into perpetuity,
Yeah.
something
So
like that. Without, yeah. So that's some of my thoughts on it.
yeah, put it on the blockchain. It'll be great. Be fine. All right. So we're gonna round this one out with story number 5. We got a little rant here. A lot of us use Instagram, a lot of us use Facebook, more of us are starting to use threads and their messaging service. That's WhatsApp, right? Yeah.
Mm.
These are all owned by Meta. And then Zuckerberg is doing this thing. Reports come out. Meta has your kids. Basically, the government realized, or not the government realized, but a lot of people realized that there was undue influence on kids with Instagram. People like me, you, we use Instagram and we get caught up and we're like, man, we're using this thing all the time. And it's too bad. But with Instagram and kids, it's a different thing. So it's not that it's not that this stuff is addictive. It's not that this stuff is possibly harmful. It's that Meta actually knew about it. Meta knew about this stuff, knew that it was harming kids, knew that it was leading them into more troublesome behaviors, and they kept doing it anyway. So now they've got issues, Theo.
They got problems. Yeah, man. This is the basis of the lawsuit that they put out there. And so the reason why this came to light, there was an article I think I sent to you in the Wall Street Journal where the consultant who was part of that project just basically flat out said, I told him about this problem years ago because he saw it. He used to work at Facebook, and then he saw it when he came back to help them with their content moderation, that he saw these creepers out here targeting his 16-year-old daughter. And so
Mhm.
he said, "This is on Facebook and Instagram? What's going on?" He said among users under the age of 16, 26% recalled having a bad experience in the last week due to witnessing hostility against someone based on their race, religion, or identity. And it said more than a fifth felt worse about themselves after viewing others' posts, and 13% had experienced unwanted sexual advances in the past 7 days. I'm not talking about for a whole year. We're talking in a week.
Yeah.
13% of kids are experiencing this under 16. As a parent, this is deeply disconcerting. And I think this lawsuit may have some legs that we're going to experience over the next couple of weeks with Facebook. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be the big tobacco of our era, I think.
yeah, I do too. Mr. Benja, man, we covered it. We did it, Mr. Benja. So I love it how we get it in. Mr. Benja, man, I think we're going to end it today. Hey, everyone. If you like this content, please subscribe, comment at Show versus Business X, known as Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You want to learn more about us, check out our website at Show versus Business. All right, Mr. Benja, have a good one.
Peace.